A woman sits in her office late at night. The building is empty. The fluorescent lights hum. She's 37, successful by every metric that matters to the world. But there's something else happening behind her eyes, a flicker of something ancient and small. She doesn't know why she's crying. The tears come suddenly. And in that moment, she remembers a little girl, maybe 6 years old, sitting alone in her bedroom, coloring quietly while her parents fought downstairs. That little girl learned something that night. She learned that if you're very quiet, very good, very helpful, maybe the world won't fall apart. This is what happens when we abandon our inner child. Not ignore in the casual sense, but abandon. Leave them frozen in time, holding all the fear, all the wonder, all the needs we decided were too dangerous to feel. That child doesn't disappear. They wait. They wait in the basement of your consciousness, holding every unmet need, every swallowed tear. The concept of the inner child isn't New Age mysticism. It's neuroscience. It's developmental psychology. When psychologist John Bradshaw wrote about the wounded inner child, he was describing how early experiences create neural pathways that persist throughout our lives. A child's brain is remarkably plastic. It's designed to adapt to its environment for survival. If that environment is chaotic, the brain wires itself for hypervigilance. If it's neglectful, the brain learns to suppress needs. These aren't conscious choices, they're biological adaptations. And yet, most of us spend our adult lives pretending those adaptations don't exist. We tell ourselves we've outgrown our childhood. But the body keeps the score. The nervous system remembers. And that inner child is still there, influencing every relationship you have, every decision you make. Here's what ignoring your inner child actually looks like in daily life. You achieve something remarkable, but instead of celebrating, you immediately move to the next goal. Why? Because that inner child learned that love was conditional on performance. You stay in relationships where you give everything and receive little. Why? Because that inner child learned that their needs were too much. You can't rest without guilt. You can't play without purpose, because that inner child was never allowed to just be. They had to earn their place in the world through productivity. And now, decades later, you're still running that same program. Studies in attachment theory show us something profound. The way we were held as infants, the way our cries were answered or ignored, creates what researchers call an internal working model. It's essentially a blueprint for how we expect the world to treat us. And unless we consciously examine and heal that blueprint, we spend our lives recreating the same dynamics. When we ignore our inner child long enough, something breaks. Not dramatically. It's more like a slow erosion. You start to feel empty even when your life is full. You achieve everything you thought would make you happy, but happiness feels foreign. You might develop what psychologists call anhedonia, the inability to feel pleasure. Because here's the paradox: your inner child holds not just your wounds, but your capacity for wonder. They hold your creativity, your spontaneity. When you abandon them to protect yourself from pain, you also abandon your access to genuine joy. You can't selectively numb. I knew someone once. Let's call her Sarah. She came to therapy because she couldn't understand why she was so successful and so miserable. She had everything, but she felt like she was living someone else's life. When we started exploring her childhood, she remembered something. She used to love to paint, hours spent with watercolors. But her father would walk by and say things like, "That's nice, but what's it for?" Slowly, she learned that joy without purpose was indulgence. So she stopped painting. She became practical, strategic, and very, very successful. But that little girl with the watercolors, she never left. She was still there, 30 years later, holding the brushes, waiting to be told it was okay to create just because it felt good. The danger isn't just personal. When we ignore our inner children collectively, we create a society of emotional orphans, adults who look whole but feel hollow, parents who can't play with their children because they never learned to play themselves. We pass down the abandonment through generations. Neuroscience now shows us that the brain regions associated with play, creativity, and joy are the same regions that regulate emotional resilience. When we ignore our inner child, we're not just losing access to fun, we're compromising our ability to cope with stress, to think creatively. You might find yourself triggered by seemingly small things, a tone of voice that suddenly makes you feel 5 years old again, a criticism that shouldn't devastate you but does. These aren't overreactions. They're that inner child trying to get your attention. Some people try to silence that child with achievement, others with substances, some with constant busyness. But here's what Carl Jung understood. What we resist persists. What we ignore grows in the shadows. The inner child you're running from is the same inner child who holds the key to your healing. The ignored inner child often becomes what psychologists call the false self, a carefully constructed persona designed to be acceptable, lovable, successful. But it's exhausting maintaining that false self. No wonder so many adults feel tired without knowing why. But here's the transformation that's possible. When you turn toward that inner child instead of away, something remarkable happens. You start by simply acknowledging them. I see you. I see what you went through. I see what you needed and didn't get. This isn't about blame. It's about witness. Then comes the harder work, reparenting, giving yourself the permissions that were never granted. Permission to rest without earning it. Permission to play without purpose. Permission to feel without fixing. You become the adult that child needed. This is where people misunderstand inner child work. They think it means becoming childish, but that's not it at all. It means integrating the wisdom of that child with the capabilities of the adult. It means recovering your capacity for wonder while maintaining your ability to navigate the world. Sarah, the woman who stopped painting, she bought watercolors, not to become an artist, just to let that little girl finally finish her painting. She cried the first time she opened the set, not from sadness, but from recognition. That little girl was still there, still eager, still creative. The neuroscience is clear on this. When we engage in activities that bring us back to positive childhood states, we literally rewire our brains. We create new neural pathways that bypass the old traumatic ones. The brain's plasticity means it's never too late. But let me be direct about something. This work is not easy. Meeting your inner child means meeting your pain. It means feeling the feelings you've spent decades avoiding. These feelings are not weakness. They're the beginning of integration. Here's what happens when you stop ignoring your inner child. Your relationships change. You stop accepting crumbs and calling it love. You recognize when you're being triggered versus when you're responding to the present moment. You can play without guilt, rest without anxiety. You also become more compassionate, because when you see your own inner child clearly, you start recognizing the inner children in everyone else. This doesn't mean accepting poor treatment, but it does mean understanding the deeper dynamics at play. And perhaps most importantly, you recover your aliveness, a capacity to be present, to feel the full spectrum of human experience without running, to hold paradox, that you can be both wounded and whole, that growing up doesn't mean abandoning who you were, but integrating all parts of yourself. The woman in the office, the one crying without knowing why, that's the moment the abandonment ends. When the tears come and instead of pushing them down, she lets them flow. Her inner child isn't gone, was just waiting for her to be strong enough to be soft again. That little girl coloring in her room while her parents fought, she's still there. Still coloring, still creating beauty in the midst of chaos. And maybe, just maybe, it's time to let her speak, to ask her what she knows, to tell her that the adult she became is finally ready to listen. Because here's the ultimate truth about ignoring your inner child. You're not protecting yourself from pain, you're prolonging it. You're not being strong, you're being incomplete. That child holds pieces of you that you need to be whole. Your creativity, your intuition, your capacity for joy. The danger of ignoring your inner child isn't just that you'll miss out on healing. It's that you'll miss out on living. Really living. Not just surviving, achieving, performing, but living with the kind of presence and wholeness that comes from integrating all parts of yourself. So the invitation is this: turn toward that child. Not to save them, they've already survived, but to finally see them, to hear them, to tell them what no one else ever said. You matter. Your feelings matter. Your needs matter. You don't have to earn love. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be you. And that's enough. That was always enough, because the child you were is still the foundation of the adult you are. And when that foundation is seen, honored, integrated, you don't just heal, you come alive. You remember what it feels like to be whole. And in that wholeness, you find something you thought was lost forever. yourself